Hey, it's Ronco Johnson. Welcome back to Lifestyle Focus Wealth. Hey, we're going to be just talking about some money issues today and mindset. So listen to me very closely. We don't just want to talk about money. It's not just about money. It has a lot to do with your mindset, the structure, and your intentionality behind everything you do. And this is what's going to help you build generational wealth. And on this episode, we're going to have that discussion today. And we want to talk about, hey, what is it all about when you're talking to a young person getting ready to graduate? What do they need to hear when we have the discussion about the difference between the mindset of the wealthy and the mindset of the majority? Right here on When the Lights Go Out, Are You Ready? This is going to be a conversation that you don't want to miss. You're going to want to have it with your kids, your family, and friends. So I want to ask you one question. What's holding you back? Why are you not already inside? Go ahead, subscribe, hit the like button, and I will catch you on the other side. Because this episode, you're going to want to know why it's critically important for young people today stepping into the real world that they got to know the difference between following the crowd and following people that are broke. Wealthy people think differently and move differently and plan differently. So let's break that down, and I'm going to give you 5 of my biggest secrets to that so that you young folks today don't make the biggest mistakes that maybe your parents and grandparents have made when they follow the majority. We're going to be talking about what majority and minority is in terms of money, finance, and all those different things. So you want to be involved on this one. So I'll see you on the inside of today's conversation on Lifestyle Focus Wealth. Hey, good day. It's Lifestyle Focus Wealth. I'm Ronco Johnson, your Lifestyle Focus Wealth coach. Good to see you. Hey, listen, we're going to talk about the mindset, the structure, and the intentionality behind building generational wealth and how you do this on purpose. So we're going to talk to you about these ideas that can help your young people today. If you're between 22 and 28 years old and you're just now starting your career, today is the day that this is the episode you're going to want to listen to, because we're diving into something that every young graduate needs to hear. It's the difference between going ahead and creating the mindset of the wealthy very early versus the mindset of the majority. And we're going to talk about that a little bit because, not all of us come from wealth. Not all of us have family and friends. They have all the information or have the key points. So we want to make sure that you're armed with this mentality as you're going into the workforce for the first time. And many of you living on your own and probably the first of your families to even get a college degree. So why is this critical? It's because when young people are stepping into the real world, and I'm speaking from experience, I have a 22-year-old daughter. Most people follow the crowd and not realizing that the crowd they're following is broke. So wealthy people think differently, they move differently, and they plan differently. So when I set this up, I need you to understand it looks like it's odd because wealthy people are in the minority. And because they move different, because they think different, and because they plan different, it doesn't mean that they're wrong in the sense of how they move. But when you sit back and you break it down and we start to talk about these 5 biggest mistakes that young adults make when they follow the majority, instead of following the mindset of the wealthy make, you're probably going to find yourself in this episode saying, man, when I was a young person, I made the same mistakes. I made the same mistakes, and we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to help that. So I'm going to dive right into it. Number one mistake. Number one is prioritizing lifestyle over liquidity. Because, this one hits hard, actually, because most young people who graduate immediately upgrade their lifestyle. and you got to make sure we understand something. The majority of the people out there buy liabilities to look successful. See, wealth building is not about looking successful. The wealthy build liquidity to become successful. So wealthy people already know that, hey, cash is king and liquidity is freedom. And that's the one thing that sets them apart, is understanding that cash is king and freedom is right around the corner. Number two mistake, taking debt without any strategy. See, student loans, car notes, credit cards, young people jump right into debt like it's normal because everybody around them is in debt. But because the majority treats debt like a tool of consumption, the wealthy treat debt like a tool of leverage. Well, there's a difference there. If I'm using debt to go buy things that aren't making us any money versus creating seed capital to get us started, the mindset is totally different. And you can't expect your 18, 19, 20, 25-year-old person just to come out of school and know these things. This stuff is taught. So if your debt doesn't produce income, if it doesn't reduce your taxes or increases your net worth, it's not a strategy. It's not strategic at all. It's a trap. And we don't want to walk into traps. Uncle Ronco's going to save you from the traps. The super agent's going to save you from the traps. We want to win, right? So if you're checking in with us today, go ahead and put win in the comments. Number three mistake. The number three mistake is delaying wealth building because there's time. This is a huge one for young people because here's the thing. Young people think they can start later. They got all the time in the world. And that's the biggest lie majorities believe. And I call it majorities. The majority of people out there don't have wealth. Wealthy people understand the power of compounding time. It's not just about compounding money. The earlier you start, the less you have to sacrifice. And that is a true fact. You can take that to the bank and tell everybody I sent you. Number four. The number four mistake is this: following advice from people who aren't wealthy. Everyone has an opinion, especially family and friends. I promise you, we all know the people that do that, right? So it's probably best to try to figure out that if I could start from the very beginning, well, I know some experts that could probably help me. I know if I was a young person in today's world and I could get access to social media or programs like Lifestyle Focus Wealth, I probably would be right here writing it down and following tooth and nail, right? So if you understood very early, the majority gives advice based on their fears, not strategy, okay? Wealthy people seek mentors, coaches, and they use proven systems. So if someone isn't living the life that you want for yourself, maybe it's not a good idea to take financial advice from them. Maybe you need to get involved and be around some coaches, some mentors, and people who understand where you want to go and how you're going to get there and give you the blueprint. Number five, not understanding the power of ownership. So most young people that we talk to, they're going through school and they've been programmed to go through school and make these things happen for themselves. They got the degrees, but the majority focus on income. Once you come out of high school and college, you're focusing on making money. The wealthy people, they focus on assets. They focus on equity. They focus on intellectual property, something that AI is really pushing forward in this generation. They look at business systems and financial instruments that pay them whether they work or not. See, ownership is the foundation of generational wealth. And that part of it can't be mistaken. It can't be mistaken. So we're going to dive into those 5 points. We're going to talk a little bit deeper in today's program. But first, before we get started, if you think this is compelling, if this is resonating with you, we need you to do a few things. We need you to pay the price of admission. We need you to go into our team and write this up, right? We need you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I need you to share it with a friend. I need you to tell someone, put some comments down there. And if we talk about something that's compelling, this is your first time to the show, I want you to know that nothing moves without you. Nothing moves without you. And we need you in the room. We need you in the room. So if this is your first time with us here at Lifestyle Focus Wealth, I want you to come on in, be a part of the family. Come on in. And if you want to make a suggestion, if you want to make a comment, put the words takeaways first. Go ahead and put that right down in the chat. Put takeaways, right? And then tell me what it is that you want to talk about. But do me a favor, smash that like button. Smash that like button. Subscribe, okay? Tell somebody that you're here. We want to make sure that you're getting the notifications so that when we're having these conversations, that you don't miss not one drop of what we're talking about. It's important that you're in the room. Everything we need is in the room, but we really need you. We need you in the room, right? So let's start talking about this blueprint and how we build it together. And that starts to help us out. And I'm looking forward to having that conversation with you behind the scenes and at the end of the day, because at the end of our show, I want you to make sure that you go down and get our notes below and sign up for our weekly or bi-weekly newsletters in our email list. It contains all kinds of information that you're going to want. And when it's talking about articles, we got travel, we got recipes, and much, much more. And it's absolutely free to you. See, this is what Lifestyle Focused Wealth is all about. We're focusing not only on money, but we're focusing on a lifestyle that creates the opportunity for us to live the life that we dreamed of, be around the people we love, create those interesting experiences and moments that can't be replaced. That's what wealth really is all about. And that's what we're trying to have the conversation to tell you. We're not trying, we're doing it. We're doing it. So I'm going to ask you really quickly, go ahead and join our Lifestyle Focused Wealth community. You want to be part of the community. It's only $16 a month when you join it annually. And guess what? You're around other people that think like you. You're around people already taking advantage of what we're talking about, is using financial instruments to better their life, to leverage so that you can make this thing fun. It doesn't have to be so nerve-wracking. When you start to get the tools, get the blueprint, guess what? It becomes a fun situation. And building wealth and strategy can be fun, because being broke is no fun. And I can tell you, that's not where we want to be. So happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Hey, Leela, I see you out there. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Sandra, happy Friday to you. I see you guys already joining us really, really early. What's up, Sam? I see you, buddy. Win, win, win. I want to make sure that we're all into the house today, because it's important that we have this after the holiday season. I realized that I was sitting back and I was having this conversation, and just so y'all know, just a little insight about me, right? I'm human just like you. I have family just like you. I have a child just like you. And sometimes I'm just that. Never mind being super agent, never mind being who I am to the public, the persona and all the things. I'm just that. Sometimes we can't just get across to our kids. Sometimes I got to hear from someone else. Sometimes they got to make all the mistakes in the world before they come to you and ask you to clean it up. But if you've done a good job, if you're like me, Sometimes you have to step away from it and allow experiences to happen, or you put or input people in the lives of our young people that can influence the way that they're thinking and let them see or be exposed to the way of thinking of more successful people. Get them accustomed to being around that idea and just flood their minds with nothing but high level thinking. And that's why we use lifestyle focused wealth. This is what it's all about, helping people to shift from survival thinking to legacy thinking. And that part is a huge gap. So you don't want to just build wealth by following the majority. When we really look at what we have in the United States, the majority of people don't make over six figures. The majority. Less than 5% of the population makes over six figures. So when you build your wealth by following other people, be sure you follow with the intentional people, the people who are going to help you get there. Does that make sense? If that's making sense to you and that's resonating with you today, put "I'm ready" down in the chat. Put it down here in the chat. I'm ready. Because if you're not ready, this episode is for you. You know, that's a lights out moment for everybody, right? So that's where we are. That's what we're going to be talking about. So here's the deal. Here's our 5 money secrets. And I'm going to say our 5 money mistakes that young people make when they follow the majority instead of the wealthy. And this is not a knock on anyone. I'm going to go ahead and say that before we get started. Some of us were young when we had kids, or we came from difficult situations. We're just doing the best we can, right? So what's going on with family? Huh? Tell me, what's going on with family? You just had your Christmas reunion, your family reunions, or whatever the case may be. I just want to welcome you back to Lifestyle Focused Wealth, where we don't just talk about money. We're talking about mindset, the structure, the intentionality behind building purposeful wealth. So I'm talking directly today to young people out there, new graduates, early professionals, anyone stepping into the real world for the very first time. That's who we're talking to today. Because here's the truth. Most people follow the majority. In today's world, social media is all about follow me, follow me, follow me. And the majority is not wealthy. So if I'm following the majority and the majority is not wealthy, I'm probably needing to find a group of people that I can follow that represent the mindset that I need to be in. So today we're going to break down those 5 biggest mistakes young people make because they're following the crowd. Instead, we want them to start following a wealth-minded vision, okay? Wealth-minded visions are important. We talk about that in our one-on-ones. We talk about that in our legacy building conversations and our groups and our councils and all the stuff that we do in our coaching. And I'm going to give you the real examples so you can see exactly what these play out to be over time. I think that's important. And you know me, I like to talk about pain points. If we can get these pain points out the way, I think a lot of us will be able to say, hey, that happened to me too. That happened to me too, right? This is the Me Too moment for most people. The number one pain point today, as I mentioned in our opening statement, is prioritizing lifestyle over liquidity. You know, you see the music videos, the young person's got all the gold chains, he's got the car, he's got the house, got the pretty girl. That's the first mistake. You know, the first mistake is real simple. Young people upgrade their lifestyles before they upgrade their financial foundation. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there. They do. I know that I couldn't wait to make myself look ready. But let me paint the picture for you. See, you graduate, You get your first job. Then you get that first real check. Anybody out there remember that first real check? And then suddenly you feel like you've earned the right to live like you've already made it. I remember when I made $30,000 at one time, I thought I was going to be good. I couldn't wait until I got to six figures. Couldn't wait. That's all I wanted. If I could make six figures, oh my God, I'm wealthy. I'd never have to work again. That's so not true. So here's what happens. Young people, you buy a new car, a new apartment, you buy some furniture, new clothes, new everything. All right? Your swag is on a whole nother level because you want to reward yourself. But here's the wealthy mindset behind that. Wealthy people reward themselves after they build liquidity, not before it. If you can build the money before you need to spend it, come on, guys. It makes more sense. I know it's not the sexiest thing that you've heard. I realize that. But there's a system to it. And let me give you an example. See, there's two graduates that start their careers at the same salary, $55,000. We're going to use this as an example. Graduate A gets a new car with a payment of $600 a month. Then they move into this luxury apartment down in Midtown. They buy their furniture off of credit. Number two, the graduate number two, or we'll call him graduate B, right? Graduate B does it a little bit different. He gets a reliable used car. They split rent with a roommate. Keeps their expenses really low. 5 years later, just 5 years of that sacrifice, here's what's going to happen. And you can watch this play over and over again. And I'm going to give it to you. That way you don't have to make the mistakes. See, graduate A has zero money saved. Zero. $20,000 of credit card debt with no investments. See, graduate B has saved $60,000 over that 5-year period of time. They're growing their investment accounts and they got options. Still the same income, different mindset, different future. See, liquidity is freedom. Lifestyle is the trap when it's premature. I'm sharing it with you. That's the secret sauce to this thing. If you're a group of men, you have young people in your family, come on, give me some inspiration here. Let me know. Let me know. Put it in the chat. If you got young people that can use this information, but they're not listening to you, maybe you take this video and you share it with them today. Pain point number 2. We're going to talk about it. Taking on debt without a strategy. You know, when you're young, the second mistake that people make is treating debt like it's normal instead of treating it like it's a tool. And maybe the parents didn't know how to use it as a tool. Maybe they didn't have any guidance as a young person. I know I did not. Credit cards just came in when you're in college. You got good credit. It's easy to get it when you're in college. But guess what? The majority of people around you are going to use the debt for consumption. You know, food, gas, a new fresh gear, outfits. But someone that's got that wealthy mindset, they're going to use that debt for leverage. Let me show you the difference. I just need you to take a mental walk with me down this idea for a second. I want to share with you the mindset of the majority. I want it now. I just put it on my card. I deserve this. Have you heard these terms? Everyone has debt. Yeah, right. Everyone has debt. That's how the majority thinks about finances. Let me share with you the wealthy mindset. The wealth mindset sounds more like this. If this debt doesn't make me money, if it doesn't reduce my taxes or increase my net worth, I don't want it. I don't need it. Here's an example. Another young person buys a $35,000 car with a $650 car payment. They think that's normal. Everyone around them has a car note. Well, let's back up for a second. Wealthy people ask how I can use that same $650 to buy an asset that pays me. That's the difference. Imagine instead of you going out and buying this car that you got a continuous payment on, suppose you were to go out and buy a used car for $6,000. And you took that $650 a month that you had and you were to invest it. See, the difference is over the next 10 years, that becomes over $100,000 invested. You got to think about that, folks. Time, 10 years of $650 a month, it becomes over $100,000 of invested capital. One decision, one mindset shift, a six-figure difference. Am I resonating with anyone? Am I resonating with anyone today? I'm giving you some good tips. If we got good tips, put down these are great tips. Tips by Ronco in the chat. Send it out to your friends. Tips by Ronco. Hashtag tips by Ronco. And listen, we want to make sure that you guys get what you're needing. Pain point number 3, we talked about believing that I have time. This is dangerous, folks. This is one of the most dangerous because it feels harmless. See, young people, we think that, and I like to say we, but they think that I'm young. I'll start saving later. I'll invest when I make more money. Or just plain simply, I got time. But see, here's the truth. You don't build wealth with money. You build wealth with time. The more time you put into it, the more wealth has time to accumulate. So let me give you another simple example that you can use. Once again, we're going to use two people, person A and person B. They're going to invest $200 a month, right? And let's say person A starts at age 22 and person B starts at age 32. A 10-year difference. See, both of them are going to invest money until they're age 62. So person A has 40 years of investment opportunity. Person B has 30 years of investment opportunity. Guess what? Person A ends up with double the money. Why? Even though they invested the same amount of money per month, here's why. The multiplier, time is the multiplier. Simple answer. See, the wealthy understand this. And if your parents have become, or your mentors have become somewhat wealth-minded people, they're probably going to educate you on waiting on those things and doubling your money while you have time to catch up, right? You got time to buy that new car. You got time to put those things into action for yourself. I promise you. The thing you can never recover is time. So if you've been on Lifestyle Focused Wealth, you're part of our community. We've always said the most valuable asset you have is Time, time, because it's the multiplier. See, the wealthy understand this. The majority of people, they delay. They delay. And that delay is expensive. When you start to really think about how much that's costing you down the line, that is expensive. That delay, waiting for a month, a year, 5 years to start getting it, it's expensive. And guess what, y'all? Life keeps on lifing. That's what I call a lights out moment. It really is a lights out moment. So let's talk about pain point number 4. See, when you're taking advice from people who aren't wealthy, this one is a little bit personal for me. See, most young people get financial advice from parents who struggled, friends who are broke, co-workers who are stressed out, social media influencers who don't know you. And guess what they do? They follow it because it's familiar. But here's the rule wealthy people live by. Never take advice from someone who isn't living the life you want. So let me give you an example of that. And I hope you are vibing with our examples. If you're vibing with our examples today, please let us know in the chat. Keep us going in the chat because I am looking at you and I do want to bring you guys in, but we got a lot to get through today. Because I'm on one today. I'm on one today after Christmas. I want to make sure that all the presents aren't out from underneath the Christmas tree. And I want to make sure that I give our young people the gift that keeps on giving. And that's the information. This information, we still got time, y'all, family. We still got time. Cousins, we still got time to talk to our kids, our young people. Right? We really do. So let's jump into that example. We got a young person that tells his family they want to start a business. And their family says, well, that's risky. You need a stable job. You need to go out and get a stable job. You know, you just be grateful that you can get a job. Wealthy people, let me tell you what they say. Let's build a plan. Let's structure it correctly. Let's create some ownership. See, the majority gives advice based off of fear. Wealthy give advice based on strategy. And that's the part that we need to make sure that we listen close and we choose who we listen to very, very carefully. Because if we're going to build this thing off of strategy, that's probably a better idea to build on what someone knows, not what someone heard about. See, we got to stop this chain of misrepresented professionalism. We got to stop it. We really do. Because if we start walking in exactly what it is that we should be doing, and we're getting advice from the experts, we're getting advice from the professionals, not piecemealing it from the person that you heard someone getting over or someone getting a piece of it, someone having one piece of success, you'll probably find that you come out better in the long run. And you'll also find that it's inclusive. It's not a singular tool that makes it happen. So number 5, let's get into number 5. Not understanding the power of ownership. I know in our school, they didn't teach ownership. I think this last one is the most important piece of it. You hear music people talking about their masters all the time. You hear athletes talking about having to play hurt all the time. Because they know young people are going to chase the income. Wealthy-minded people chase ownership. Let me break that down for you. See, income helps you to pay your bills. Ownership helps you to build your future. They're not the same. They're not the same. They're not the same. So for all of those of you that don't understand what I mean by ownership, see, ownership looks like this. If I'm going to talk to someone about ownership, let's talk about equity in a business. Let's talk about intellectual property, ideas that you create. Let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about investments. Let's talk about financial instruments that keep growing even when you sleep. So I'm going to give you another example of this with two young people starting their working careers at age 22. See, person A focuses on getting raises, and person B focuses on building assets. At age 40, person A makes $120,000 a year, but they own nothing. Person B makes $80,000 a year, but owns a business, a rental property, and investments. Guess who's wealthier? Guess who's freer? Guess who's more protected? You got it. Ownership beats income every single time. Every single time. I didn't say sometimes. Every single time. If you agree with my statement, put it in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. If you agree with me, put it in the chat. And I'm even going to put our reputation at risk. If you don't agree with me, put a thumbs down. You don't have to agree with me. But guess what? As an expert, I can honestly tell you this is absolutely correct. I'm not telling you what I believe. I'm telling you what I know. So if you're young and listening to this, hear me clearly. You don't build wealth by following the majority. You build wealth by following the intentional choices that they're making. These 5 mistakes, they're completely avoidable. Your future is not determined on your income. It's determined on your decisions that you're making. So make your decisions wise. That's what you want to do. And if you want to build wealth on purpose, you're in the right place. Lifestyle focused wealth in this community is where you need to be. It's where you need to be, where you can be around other people who talk about what millionaires and billionaires do. We need to be talking about having participating whole life insurance that's going to continue to grow. We need to be talking about your high yield savings accounts and when the money flows through these instruments at the right time and the right place. We need to be talking about if you're going to buy a down payment on a house and how you use the equity in it to help you further. We need to be talking about why you want to create your corporation with your first little pieces of money and why you want to get some business credit established. Why? What are the tax advantages? You're not too young to understand. And for those of us that are older that are hearing this message today, you're not too late to make a change. You didn't know what you didn't know. You just didn't know what you didn't know. I hope these key insights that I'm giving you transforms your entire script of how you've been living, because young adults between 22 and 28 are not just inexperienced, they're unexposed. And that's just the truth. They've never heard of these concepts. They've never seen these models. They're surrounded by people who reinforce the opposite of wealth building behavior. So that's what our program is about today. We want to take our opportunity to share with you so that you can help refine the way they think with the reality so that the mindset can start to set in early. Because we want to speak with clarity. We want to speak with empathy, but we also want to speak with authority. And that allows us to do a few things. It gives us someone giving them the blueprint that they can honestly say, I didn't know this even existed. Well, that's okay. You're just 22. Just because you didn't know what you didn't know, it's probably a better idea for us to start talking about the things that exist instead of the things that are fantasy. Because a lot of us, when we get the reality check, we can't handle it. But had we had learned what reality really was from the beginning, we wouldn't be living in the fantasy. It's only one of two ways to look at it. So we want to dig deeper. We want to have these conversations with our families. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? Well, I hope I'm hitting home, because I want you to start having these conversations, folks, with your young people. And don't think because they're in college or because they're busy or because they got things that they got going on, they're not that busy. They got to use money. And for those of you who are parents, if they don't spend the money wisely, they're coming to use your money. Sit back, relax, and unwind. Come back and join us after the break, and we're going to talk about how you can speak to them directly. Hey, join our Lifestyle Focused Wealth community. Membership starting at $16 a month when you pay the annual subscription. So register online today at www.lifestylefocusedwealth.com. Hey, it's Ronco Johnson, your Lifestyle Focused Wealth Coach. If you're between ages 22 to 28 years old and you want to hear me clearly, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. If you want to hear me clearly, most of what I've been taught about money didn't come from wealthy people. It came from people and parents who did their best with what they could. Teachers who weren't trained in wealth. Friends who just figured it out, just like you. Okay? Social media that rewards entertainment, it doesn't necessarily reward education. That is another reason why I want you to hit the subscribe button and join this movement, because it's time to use these formats as a way for you to learn, and so that you can be an aid in helping other people get to where they want to go. See, this is what our financial literacy is all about, but we want to go further than literacy and education. We need to put financial intelligence into play in the marketplace, because that means that you're actually learning. So if you've never heard these concepts before, that is normal. It's not the other way around. You weren't supposed to. The system doesn't teach you this. But today, Ronco Johnson is giving you the blueprint of the wealthy, so you can grow up with this information and the mindset that changes everything for you, your family, and our kids' kids' kids. We got to get it in. There's no excuse. That's how we talk directly to our family. So I just want to go ahead and make sure I say this very clearly. Lifestyle over liquidity. Period. Period. Okay? It's explained for someone who's never heard this before. I want to make sure that I say it this way. When you're young, the world tells you you're grown now. Treat yourself. Or you deserve nice things. Upgrade your life. You hear it in songs. Hell, even Beyonce told you to upgrade you, right? But not everybody's in her situation. But nobody tells you the truth. See, the fastest way to stay broke is to look successful too early. Let me break that down for you. See, when you get your first paycheck, your first real paycheck, I understand. It feels like freedom. It really does. But that feeling tricks you into spending money you don't actually have. See, here's what most young people do. Like I said earlier, you get a car, you get this luxury apartment, you buy some new clothes, you get some new furnishings, and then start going out more. Start hanging out more. But because you're a little bit irresponsible, it's not because you're irresponsible. Let me change that. It's not because you're a little bit irresponsible, but because everyone around you does the same thing. And without you knowing it, you're caving into the peer pressure. You're caving into the surroundings of people around you. See, wealthy people don't do the opposite. They build liquidity first. That's they're gonna do the opposite from you all the time. They're gonna be the oddball out. They're gonna do the opposite. They build liquidity first. Liquidity, what I mean? Cash, savings, investments. Because liquidity gives you options. Okay? So take those examples that I gave you of the two people that make the same money. One spends to look successful and one saves to become successful. And in those 5 years, I can honestly tell you, there's a difference between the two. There's a difference between their two lives. It really is. And once you start to peel that back, you start to see on and on and on how they are so different. Like I said, most young people think about that as normal because everybody around them has it. The truth is, as I mentioned earlier, there's two types of debts: wealth building debt and wealth destroying debt. Nobody teaches this in school. Your parents probably didn't know it themselves. So your friends definitely aren't talking to you about it. And if you're a good friend, be a great friend, be an excellent friend. Have the conversation with your boys or your girlfriends or your families or your cousins. So here's some examples of how you can do it. If debt helps you make money, it's called leverage. If debt helps you buy stuff, it's called a trap. That simple. If it makes money, leverage. If it makes you buy stuff, it's a trap. A $650 car payment doesn't make you money. A credit card balance doesn't make you money. A finance couch, when you go to these liquidation centers and they give you 0% financing on a new couch, it doesn't make you money. Wealthy people start to think about it a little differently. They're buying assets. They start businesses. They acquire real estate. They reduce their taxes because the business and the real estate cause expenses. And they increase their net worth, not their cash, but their net worth. See, you were taught to use debt for comfort. The wealthy use debt for power. That's the biggest difference. Are we there? Are we there? Am I making sense to y'all today? Am I? Because I'm shooting it really deep because I want to make sure that we're really focusing on those of you who think you have more time. More time. You're not guaranteed. The one thing is, the crazy thing about life, the average person lives 33,000 days. Think about what I'm saying for a second. If the average person lives 33,000 days, how many more days do you have left? Matter of fact, if you knew how many days you had left, how would you think? Would you think differently than you do? I've said this before. As the clock runs out on a basketball game, you'll notice people play the game with more urgency. They start taking a little bit more risk. They don't worry about how many fouls they have left to give. The game is on the line. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a little over 11,000 days left. The first 18,000 days, the question is, did I achieve what I absolutely wanted to achieve? In my case, the answer is no. Still got goals. But the one thing I can't do is go back and get the time. I can always catch up with the money, but the time I can't get back. And every decision we make from here on forward has to be strategic, and it has to be in alignment. Because when you were 22 to 28 years old, time feels unlimited. And you start thinking you can start later. You think that I'll make more time and I'll make more money. I can do that later. But when you really get serious, when your life settles down, you start to find out the truth. The truth that nobody told you is that time is the most valuable asset that you have. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. So let me make it real for you. If you invest $200 a month and you're starting out at 22 years old and you end up with more money than someone who invested $400 a month that started at 32, guess what? It's not because you invested more money. It was because you invested earlier. People need to hear that. They need to hear it. You don't just say it and walk right by that conversation. Explain that to them. You know, you're 10 years younger than me. You don't even put in half of what I put into. And you're going to have more money than me. Because wealthy people teach their kids this. Most families don't. Once again, that's the majority. That's why you've never heard it, because the families aren't having the conversation. So when you're taking advice from people who aren't wealthy, you need to understand. You really do need to understand. This one is really tough because it involves people that you love, right? Most young people get their financial advices from parents who struggled. I said that earlier. Friends who are broke, coworkers who are stressed out, social media influencers that don't know you. They don't know you. And yet you follow them because they're familiar. But the truth is, you can't build a wealthy life using advice from people who aren't wealthy. Wealth leaves clues. Successful people leave clues. You need to be in the room where people who are leaving clues on purpose for you to get. Because if someone isn't living your lifestyle that you really want, how can they guide you to get to where you're going? Unless they've been trained. It's not always about how much money they have. They may have more expertise than they have money, but they can train you. Because wealthy people grow up hearing something different. Start early. Own the asset. How many of you heard that before? Build credit strategically. Protect your money. Think long term. These are the things that wealthy people are saying to their kids. You know, I was having a conversation with a young lady a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, we're not having these conversations. Who do we turn to for these conversations? And I started to say, wait a minute. Why aren't you having the conversation? You're looking for someone to save you when you're the answer. Most young adults, they grow up hearing, be careful. Don't take risk. Just go get a job. Debt is normal. You're always going to have debt. Investing is crazy. I've heard it. You're not wrong. You're just underexposed. And who's going to say that to your mom, dad? Who's going to say that to your cousin? Who's going to say that to your best friend? It takes a little guts to be able to sit there and have that conversation, right? It really does. It really does. Because with young people, they think the goal is to get a good job and make good money. But here's the truth. Wealthy people grow up with income and understanding that income isn't wealth. Ownership is wealth. And they even go a step further, managing and controlling the things that are owned is also wealth. Let me break that down simply. Your income, it pays your bills. Ownership builds your future. So when I say ownership, I'm really talking about owning a business. I'm really talking about that. Structuring it the proper way. If you're doing a gig, create a business around it and then do the gig inside your business. Owning some real estate, you're never wrong to think about going ahead and buying some real estate. Even if it puts you in a little bit of a cash crunch, just stay within your means. Owning some investments, well, why not get a little bit of this or that? You got the favorite shoes, or you're wearing the favorite brands. If you like a certain pair of shoes, you might as well buy the stock in the company. That's a great way to just start. You're going to find that the stock share in the company is less than the shoes that you bought. And one day, the stock portfolio could buy your shoes with just the interest that it earns. Owning your intellectual property. If you're an AI person right now, this is fantastic for you to learn. You should be putting together agents and a whole bunch of workflows right now that you could go ahead and put as a digital product and start making money from it. But be sure you copyright. Be sure you trademark. Got to own your intellectual property. See, when we're having these conversations, we're also talking about owning your financial instruments. See, when I say ownership, I mean the stuff that's after tax, not the stuff that's still tied to the government that taxes you. You know, you got an IRA. IRA is okay, but it's still taxes due. The Roth IRA is okay too. Just understand there's limitations. But when it comes to owning an asset, when I say owning it, I mean, there's no one there but you. You know, after tax life insurance, after tax non-qualified annuities. You own those, right? You've been taught to chase income. Wealthy people teach their kids to chase assets. That's the difference. If I've done a good job of making sure that you resonate today, I just want to make sure that we're speaking to the reality of what is out there today. And as I sat back over the holiday and I got to watch my little niece, nephews, family members, and I could just evaluate that. And I will say to anyone's kids, because I say it to my own, if you're 22 to 28 years old, you want to understand something. You're not behind. You're not late. And you're not supposed to know this already. They're never taught you. They're not teaching you this. They haven't exposed you to it. But reality is actually hitting you in the face. Some of the things that are happening in the world today, if you pay attention, it's giving you the opportunity to say, hey, I need to change the way that is working for me. Because they're accidentally allowing you to start to look for the blueprint. Well, now you have it. It's not by accident, it's by purpose. And once you know better, you can do better. Hey, that's my time today. I'm Ronco Johnson. This is Lifestyle Focused Wealth. And let me tell you, when the lights go out, are you ready? We want to make sure that you're ready. And the only question that's the only question that's left. Are you ready? So thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like us, love us, hit subscribe, and share, and tell everybody that you know that, hey, listen, we're here and we want to talk about the power of connectivity and collaboration. So you get the opportunity, join us every Friday, 1 o'clock, right here on Lifestyle Focus Wealth. We're going to talk about it. We want you to be part of our family. We want you to be a part of the people who are winning. And we want you to have a successful weekend and enjoy your lifestyle. Hey, I'm Ronco Johnson. I look forward to seeing you next time, and I'll catch you at the top. Peace. Have a good day.